Welcome to Nugget 199. We're almost at 200 nuggets.
Almost at 200.
Almost. Well, welcome anyway.
Good. Thank you. Welcome.
And today we will be going through an article that is in the April 2021 Scientific American.
Scientists, admit you have values. Pretending otherwise won't rebuild trust in the scientific enterprise.
As the U.S. recoils from division of recent years and the scientific community tries to rebuild trust in science, scientists may be tempted to reaffirm their neutrality. If people are to trust us again, as I have frequently heard colleagues argue, we have to be scrupulous about not allowing our values to intrude into our science. This presupposes that value neutrality is necessary for public trust and that it is possible, but available evidence suggests that neither presumption is correct.
That is an interesting statement, that whole paragraph there, because, of course, their values are in every article. Show me one that's not presented that way.
No one can do anything really unbiased.
No.
It's just if you say you're agnostic,
but the whole
are
purpose
biased.
is to...
If you say you're an atheist, you're biased.
Right, but the whole purpose is to reaffirm that we're just open-minded and honest, and anybody that doesn't agree with us is narrow-minded.
Let's read on and see how open-minded these people are. One way to do this is by partnering with organizations such as, you're going to love this, Steve, the National Center for Science Education, founded to fight creationism in the classroom, but now working broadly with teachers to increase understanding of the nature of science.
That's real neutral, isn't it?
That's real neutral. That's totally unbiased. We got to fight creationism.
But what's weird is they believe this stuff. They believe what they wrote.
To do this, scientists do not need to throw off their personal values like they could. They merely need to share with teachers a belief in the value of education.
I tell students in our seminars all the time, learn as much as you can. There's nothing wrong with education, but boy, there's a lot wrong with the bias that goes into a bunch of stuff.
I know growing up, I have teachers that, even though it's been a long time ago, in junior high and high school, that influenced me greatly. And fortunately, from what I can still tell, it was in a good way. But there are teachers that are influencing those students in not such a good way. And you don't want the values of some of these instructors.
Correct. We see it all over, don't we? Can't go anywhere, a grocery store these days, without seeing the values that have been imparted into people.
In our Saturday travel and history tip, Liberal, Kansas, and to Dorothy's house. And the young lady who, normally I guess they dress up like Dorothy, but she didn't. She just dressed up with sunflower leggings. And she was really cute, and she was really nice and very personable. And she had just turned 24. And as we were going through the structure and talking about stuff, I was just saying how neat all this historical stuff was. She's like, yeah, I love it. I love all this. I love all the history. And we're like, wow, that's amazing. How come? And she said, my grandmother raised me, and she instilled that in me. That's what we need to do.
That's exactly right. This thing goes on and says, it is well known that people are more likely to accept evidence that accords with what they already believe. Well, in a sense, that's true.
Obviously.
But, in a sense, that's true.
Does this mean that science cannot be objective? No. What makes it so is not scientists patrolling their own biases, but rather the mechanisms used to ensure that bias is minimized. Well, that would be nice. Peer review is the best known of these. Though equally, if not more important, is diversity. Okay, how is peer review going to help you not being biased?
Well, what's interesting about that is there have been many creation articles, many creationists. Don't even mention the word creation, for instance. That, for instance, give a short time for whatever the issue is.
Well, like
there's dating methods or whatever it is. They're excluded. They
I'm
have
thinking
a serious
of
bias.
the gentleman who did the dinosaur blood.
Yes.
When he found that, he got all sorts of resistance.
It happens a lot that way, where if you put a time scale in anything that they don't believe, you're just ostracized.
The level playing field that they're talking about is that you believe in evolution.
Right, because what does the word peer mean?
Because they do say that this guy believes this and this guy believes that, or gal, whatever, that they believe different things, but they all lock arms and stand strong that evolution happened.
With zero proof.
Yeah, and it's sad. Some will argue that value neutrality is an ideal toward which we should strive, even if we know it can't be achieved entirely. Studies show that U.S. scientists want, among other things, I bet, to use their knowledge to improve health, make life easier, strengthen the economy through innovation and discovery, and protect people from losses associated with disruptive climate change. Oh,
They're going to save society.
They've got to throw in climate change in everything. As we talked about that one article, Earth on Fire, the young man admitted, I don't know anything except climate change issues. And he's the same age as our Dorothy. I didn't want to get off on that with her, get off on things like that. But, well, since she just turned 24, she was just a toddler when September 11th happened. It didn't mean a thing to her. No. She was more interested in the next toy or when she was going to get her meal and just having fun. Her life didn't include tragedy in America.
Well, this thing goes on and says, opinion polls suggest that most Americans want many of these things too. 73% of us believe that science has a mostly positive impact on society. I would find that hard to believe it's that high, but whatever. Science in general, perhaps so, but boy, we start narrowing it down.
Well, we know a lot of people that believe a lot of evolution without realizing that they're believing evolution theory. So maybe it is that high.
If scientists decline to discuss their values for fear that they conflict with the values of their audiences, they may miss the opportunity to discover significant points of overlap and agreement. Just don't say it if you don't need to, I guess, huh? If, on the other hand, scientists insist on their value neutrality, they will likely come across as inauthentic, if not dishonest.
Okay. We wouldn't want that, would we?
A person who truly had no values or refused to allow values to influence their decision-making would be a sociopath.
Value neutrality is a tinfoil shield. Okay. Interesting
terminology.
Adjective. So. Rather than trying to hide behind it, scientists should admit that they have values and be proud that these values motivate research, aiming to make the world a better place for all. I don't think scientists are not admitting they have values. I think they're very clear when we listen to Richard Dawkins or
Lawrence M. Krauss, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Eugenia Scott.
Yes, we certainly know what her values are. We should be proud of our values.
And that's true, we should. I'm proud of my values. I guess they are too.
Yes.
And one way or the other, they're going to influence people, to the good or to the not so good.
And we are trying to influence people too, with a godly position. And you know what? We're trying to spread the word of creation and not creationism. And maybe we'll talk about not using that ism word. Just tell them quickly.
Yeah, anytime you add ism to a word, you're admitting that it's just a philosophy, just a concept. They made it up. 1870 was the first use of creationism, and they made it up because that's when so much of the controversy started, and they made it up to ridicule us. Now people even in churches say creationism all the time. Don't say creationism. It's creation.
All right. Well, thank you. If you would like to support this ministry on a monthly or one-time basis, we would greatly appreciate it. You can call us at 603-616-8907 or text. Thank you.